Well, that's the governor of Benue State, Dr. Samuel Otom, talking about just the state of things regarding the constituent units in Nigeria. How viable are they right now? Not so much can be said, of course, of several states in Nigeria who cannot stand up to say they're paying salaries of workers because of the dwindling prices of oil. And as it stands right now, several of those states cannot pay salary. In Oyo State, Ekiti State, Ondo State, Ekiti, and several other states, same thing is happening. Kwara and in several other states. But now, as it stands, a lot of people are looking into the fact that the federal government will be giving about 90 billion naira in what they call FG bailout. In this bailout, the federal government is giving conditions to get this money, or what could be referred to as a loan. In Oyo State, for example, which is going to be one of a major talking point tonight on the program, where in that state for about 2 weeks now, teachers have shut down schools and they are on strike. They staged a protest on the streets of Ibadan, the capital of the state, protesting what they say is the lack of paying salaries, and some of them have alleged that the government is planning to sell schools. The government has their own explanation to these issues. We caught up with the governor of the state, Senator Abiola Ajimobi, who will ask questions about how the state can be run in the face of the dwindling price of oil and the drop, a sharp one, in the federal allocation to the states. Well, this is the first part of the interview with Senator Ajimobi. Pleasure talking to you, Your Excellency.
It's my pleasure to see you.
Let me start by asking you, some of your workers are not happy. You are owing them about 6 months' salaries. Why?
I think not being able to pay salaries is not limited to your state. The whole country as a whole, virtually all states are unable to pay salaries due to the dwindling oil revenue of the federal government and due to the general economic law all over the world. So we are unable to pay salaries because the revenue that is accruable to all of us has been reduced. Hence, we used to earn from the federal government allocation about 4.5 billion, 5 billion every month. Now we are earning around an average of 2 billion a month. Hence, we've been reduced by 60%, and then we are unable to pay.
Okay, it's now 5 months. Okay, a lot of people will find the explanation, especially workers in Oyo State, because of the fact that there are bailouts from the federal government. And although the round of bailouts will roll in, they will be asking the questions, what did you do with the bailout that you got in the first place?
When you call it bailout, it's not a bailout. It is a supplementary arrangement where the federal government gave us, for instance, in Oyo State, they gave us about 9 billion for the civil servants and another roughly about 8 billion for local government. And every penny of it we spent on salaries.
How many months did you pay at that time?
We paid about 3 months. Nevertheless, it was not sufficient. By the time we were paying, we were still owing 5 months, 6 months, 7 months. So at the time we paid, we ended up owing about 2.5, 3 months.
It shows clearly that Oyo State may not be able to fund itself, isn't it?
Like all states, we cannot. If you remove federal government allocation monthly to every state, between 85 and 90% of the states will collapse.
Even Oyo State?
Including Oyo State.
What's Oyo State IGR like?
It's 1.4 billion, 1.2 monthly.
And the monthly salary goes into
his monthly salary is about 5 billion.
So, I mean, it's a stark reality that most of the constituent units may not be able to get sustenance from what they get from the center, and in fact, what they generate. So, for your state, you have how many years left now, and how are you hoping to sail through with the kind of financial situation that you have on your hands?
I do hope to scale through, and that's why, when you have challenges, that's why we are there. You're a governor a chief executive to be able to solve the challenges. And what we are doing is to re-engineer our IGR, to expand the tax net, to plug the loopholes, and to ensure that we are able to bring a lot of people into paying taxes. But that's not the only thing. By the time you are able to generate employment, have economic activities improved, your IGR will definitely improve. And that's why we are trying now to do infrastructure. That's why we are trying. When we came in, we started with what we call a tripod platform. That is, we wanted to restore, we wanted to transform, and we wanted to reposition. Restore is gaining back all the lost glories, all the things that are spoiled. When you are trying to restore, you are bringing them to normalcy. But as soon as you restore, then you talk about transformation. What you have restored, do you want to transform it? I mean, add new things and so on, modernize it, so to speak. And thereafter, you reposition. With the modernization, you then begin to see how do you compare with others. It's about comparativism or comparativity. So you want to compare yourself with others and position yourself to be among the best in the Committee of States.
So you will be one of those clamoring for restructuring of the nation?
Yeah, the federal government must unbundle. The federal government has no business in agriculture. It should be a policy formulating body.
All right, well, we just take a pause on that interview. More on about what exactly should the state be doing right now when they are not getting what should be gotten to run the state. What is next? Are Nigerian states insolvent? We'll discuss more on that. Join us again. Thank you so much for staying with us on the program. We've been talking about whether or not Nigerian states are insolvent. What is the way out for the states that cannot pay salaries for workers for 6, 7, 8 months? Several of them, and they're looking forward to yet another round of bailout. We've been speaking with the governor of Oyo State, Abiola Ajimobi, who has on his hands the crises with labor union, especially the teachers who have shut down the schools. But we continue with that interview now. For restructuring of the nation.
Yeah, the federal government must unbundle. The federal government has no business in agriculture. It should be a policy formulating body. There should be policy formulation at the center. But thereafter, federal government has no business in road construction except interstate roads, not intra-city roads. And you still have in Oyo State and in every state, you have trunking roads. Those trunking roads are federal government roads. They have no business with that. So in terms of all these, what you call exclusive lists and the concurrent lists, they need to be reviewed. And that, for me, is what I call the socioeconomic restructuring of Nigeria.
A lot of solution to Nigeria's problem was embedded in the 2014 confab recommendations. Would you suggest that that recommendation President Buhari should look into? Does he even have the political will of implementing it?
If you talk of political will, I think one of the few presidents we've ever had that has political will is President Buhari. I believe if well presented, articulated to him, he would listen to voice of reasons. I'm sure of that. And he can review it. And what are the things that is to, we are coming from the, if you like, a lot of military influence on the polity from the past. And what we are saying now is we should democratize as much as possible. And we are saying federalism should be democratized. And we should reduce the dependence on the federal government. For instance, I'm doing mining. I'm interested in mining. I have a lot of marble. I have a lot of mineral resources. What is the federal government's business in that? What they should do is to provide an enabling environment for people to participate, to develop whatever they have in their states. And the federal government can tax the states based on that. But it's not that. There are times people come here and they are exploring, doing exploration. for mineral resources, and you don't even know how they got here. They'll tell you they have licenses or approvals from the federal government. In my state, where I have the land, where I'm supposed to have the land, where I'm supposed to control the states.
Well, that's an interview there with Governor Abiola Ajimobi. There is other parts to this interview where he's been talking to us on the labor strike and the fact that when will the teachers go back, the solution to that problem, or you'll say, but we take a pause on that matter. So you come back and watch this, but then we take this conversation forward. This conversation now is going to be about the Niger Delta region of the country. We know that the oil-rich Niger Delta is what many Nigerians look for in terms of energy, where Nigeria gets its oil, the mainstay of Nigeria's economy. But in recent weeks, there are several attacks on Nigerian oil installations where the Niger Delta Avengers who have come up with their demands and saying that they will cripple the Nigerian economy if their demands are not met. They've attacked several of Nigeria's oil installations. A lot of people have asked, what is the way out? Some people are asking for dialogue. The federal government has put forward a dialogue mechanism. Well, is it going to work? That's the next conversation I will be having. I have my guest joining me in the studio now. But we'll take a moment, and when we return, we'll talk proper on this matter. Join us again.